NissanZ. It doesn't matter where you heard about this car, be it drifting, high-speed racing on the verge of sanity. Everyone knows about 280Z, but not everyone knows where it did came from and what does Fairlady stand for. Sit down, my friend. I am going to show you the true story of the Nissan Z. It all began with a Broadway musical. Hang on, it will be relevant. So, it all starts in the 1950s. Datsun president Katsuji Kawamata visited New York and watched a musical called My Fair Lady. It was a Broadway musical. He loved it so much that Datsun started naming their sports cars Fairlady in Japan and Australia. Japan's most recognized car lineage is named after a musical, Wild. In my opinion, it makes it cool. Wait, stop. Datsun? Precisely. It is the old name of Nissan. Alright. Fairlady was almost exclusively roadsters. The predecessor of the Z was the competitor of Triumph, MG, Alfa Romeo and Fiat cars. In 1959, S211 came out as the first ever Fairlady. You can see heavy British influence on the design. And it was the same formula as them. Single liter inline 4, 4-speed manual and tiny roadster. And it was made in astonishing amount of units, 20. Yes, 20. Next, we skip the Gen 2 because it was absolutely the same with 1.2 liter engine and was like 460 units made. And we go to the generation 3, which got named SP310 or datsun 1500 in America. And it starts getting familiar shape, you know? You see it, yeah? 1.5 liter engine, inline 4, 77 horsepower in the single carb variant and 85 in dual carb. And it was still paired to a 4-speed manual transmission. Next, I want to look at the SR311. Big update to the lineup. 2-liter U20 engine, 5-speed manual. Engine produced 135 horsepower SAE gross and up to 180 horsepower in some variants. Couple thousands made, but it was the car that laid the groundwork for the next thing. Why am I telling you this? Well, remember what the original name of the Z was. Fairlady Z. And this is where it came from. So let's get on with the topic of the video. Z. Officially, the letter itself does not really stand for anything specific, but internally it represents the top line, the final letter, or the ultimate Nissan vehicle, if you will. Alright, this video is going to be a bunch of cars and not just one model. I will not get into full-on detailed sections for each, okay? So, in 1969, Fairlady Z came into this world, or how most of us know it, 240Z. And this car changed a lot of things. With looks, well, just look at it. It literally looks like it derived from a British sports car. And well, it did, yes. Older Nissan cars had very British looks. But unlike Brits, Japanese did care about cars' reliability and affordability. It was reliable-ish, affordable and gorgeous. You did not need Porsche money to have fun with this car, or Porsche. So technicals on the 240Z or S30. The engines were L20A 2-liter early engine, made about 115 horsepower. In the Fairlady it had a single cam with 12 valves. Next we have its variants. L20E. The same engine, but instead of carbs it was fuel injected. Produced around 130 horsepower. L20ET. Same exact thing, but it had a turbocharger slapped on it. It was the first ever engine to come out of Japan with a turbocharger. Produced about 140-143 horsepower. L24. The main Z engine, 2.4 liter, based on a Mercedes engine that Prince had rights to, which during a merger Nissan inherited, or Datsun, but not directly. L24 is based on the L16, which is an inline 4 based off the Mercedes inline 6, but with 2 cylinders cut off. And then they added the 2 cylinders back to make it a 6-cylinder. With base carburetors, it produced 130 horsepower, and with the fancier SU carbs, it produced the claimed 150 horsepower. There was also L24E, which was a fuel-injected version of this engine. Because of the regulations, Datsun had to switch over to the 2-liter engines, which made the cars slower for a time. Globally, the engine remained L24, which also gave the car its name. I mean, 150 horsepower from a 2.4 liters inline 6 might not sound insane today. Hell, it was slower than some of the previous Fairladies, but honestly, in a lightweight chassis from the late 60s, it was fast enough. 260Z was not something interesting. It was the middle child between 240 and 280. It was purely an export model and one of the first to come with 2+2 configuration. It was 30 centimeters or a foot longer than a 2-seater. Roofline looks a little bit scuffed because it needed to accommodate to the extra set of people in the rear, because it was a 4-seater, and chassis was reinforced a bunch as well because it was longer. Some changes also were made to the interior: carpeted transmission tunnel, better layout in the climate controls. For example, AC controls were in the dash panel and not a separate box. Stuff like this. Still minor, but noticeable when you use the car. Obviously, from its name, it had a 2.6-liter L26 engine, which produced up to 165 horsepower, depending on the region. Now, 280Z. Today everyone knows her from One Gun Midnight, about which I will not talk in this video. She came out in the summer of 1975, replacing 260Z. As the name suggests, it had the L28E engine, which only came with fuel injection. 2-seater and 2+2 were still offered and sold like pancakes. 150,000 sold in North America alone. Also, 280Z was used as the base for Ferrari 250 GTO replica by McBurney. About the engine, L28E came with Bosch L-Getronic fuel injection. It produced around 170 horsepower SAE gross, which offset the more luxurious and heavy interior and regulatory 5 mph bumpers. What is kind of a bummer, 280Z was pretty much North America only. Rest of the world kept the 260Z. In this generation, there also was the Peak, the fastest first-gen Z to come out, sold exclusively in Japan. Z432 and Z432R, featuring the screaming S20 engine, which came straight out of Nissan GTR. 4 stands for valves per cylinder, 3 stands for Mikuni carbs, because there was 3 of them, and 2 stand for 2 camshafts. S20 produced 160 horsepower. Not too much, honestly, but it was rather quick. But sound, oh! There was a reason why Japanese police used them. Around 420 were made, and I think most were bought by Japanese police. And Z42R, well, that was a homologation special. Thinner body panels, no spare wheel, a massive 100-liter tank, fiberglass hood, no heater, no brake booster, no airbox, no glove box, no radio, and not even a clock was left. It was bare bones to the limit. All to be 100 kilograms lighter than the regular 432. It was a proper race car that you got from the factory. It is believed that less than 50 were ever made. I have also to mention the 240ZG, which also was a Group 4 homologation special, which from the stock Z only differed in aerodynamics. Longer aerodyna style hood, acrylic headlight covers, over fenders, lower drag compared to the regular Z allowed it to reach 210 km per hour. Around 5 km per hour more than the regular one. Second generation 280ZX in export markets was still the same Fairlady, looks almost the same as the first gen, had a bunch of 2-liter engines in Japan, but was mostly unchanged. The same 5-speed manual, or 4-speed or 3-speed automatic, and the same L28E engine. New additions were Targa Top or T-Top, and they added a turbocharger to this L28E, which made it produce a whopping 180 horsepower. To the brakes. To compete with the new Z, Toyota had introduced the first Supra, separating it from the Celica. Hello, editor Oleksander here. I made a slight mistake. Toyota did not separate Supra from Celica yet. It's still Celica Supra. So yeah, this is my little intervention here during the edit. Back to the video. Today, 280Z is not as popular as it was in the past. It was regarded as the car of the year of 1979 by Motor Trend. It sold 89,000 cars in the first year. The praise it got was not from enthusiasts, but more from critics. Enthusiasts did not like the lean into the luxuries instead of driving experience. As short on the new things Gen 2 was, this is the section about it. So, Generation 3, the blank slate. And here it is, 300ZX, the complete overhaul of the Nissan Z. Complete redesign. In 1984, it introduced the VG engine with the VG30E and VG30ET, which were making 160 and 230 horsepower respectively. Unless you are talking about the US, where turbocharged ones made 200 horsepower only. This new Z had a wedge design. Proper 80s look. Because it expanded on the luxury component and the performance, it was praised a lot. Being the second most sold generation of Fairlady Z, enthusiasts saw this car more like a GT car, rather than a true sports car. Around this time, Datsun renamed to Nissan globally, while in Japan they changed it a little while ago. 300ZX, made in 1984, were the last ones to bear the name Datsun. In 1984, 300ZX 50th Anniversary Edition was released. It featured every single luxury feature available for this generation, while being the base 300ZX performance-wise, 16-inch wheels, full black interior with leather seats, fender flares and appropriate badges. To keep up with the design, in 1987 there was a facelift. Rounded bumpers, fender flares, minor things like that. In the same year they changed the transmission and introduced the limited slip differential, as well as the Shiro Special. LSD type changed from clutch type to viscous, new front lip, Recaro seats, and all analog instrument clusters. Generation 4. 300ZX, again, keeping the same 3.0 V6 engine, but instead adding another set of camshafts to it. Nissan made an entirely new car, again, with the use of CAD, one of the first cars to be ever made using computer-aided design through the Cray 2 supercomputer. Nissan built one of the most technologically advanced vehicles on the market, Z32, as it got dubbed, won Motor Trend's Car of the Year in 1990. Rode a track named the 300ZX Turbo, one of the 10 best cars in the world. Some of the features of this car: twin turbo, 4-wheel steering, variable valve timing. Its VG30E produced 220 horsepower in the naturally aspirated variant and a whopping 300 horsepower in the turbo or VG30ET variant, with 0 to 100 km per hour being at 5 to 6 seconds. Impressive. Every single Z32 had a multi-link rear suspension setup, which also made it steer a lot better. They are very desirable right now, and look at the price. And tell me you don't want one. It is a pretty good car, if you ask me. At release it was $30,000, and after yen became more expensive, it went to become 50,000, which led to rapid decline in sales. And then the temporary death of the Z for a whole 2 years, until almost half of Nissan was bought out by Renault in 1999. And in 2002, new Z was unveiled. I'm skipping 240Z V2 concept, not sorry. Generation 5, G50Z or Z33. On January 8, 2001, Nissan introduced the Z concept. In the summer of 2002, 350Z was released to the public. This was the new vehicle. It adopted the new VQ35DE dual overhead cam V6, which a huge load of Nissan vehicles were using at the time. It was in Pathfinder, Skyline, you name it. At release, it made 260 horsepower, and then with a gradual increase up to 300 horsepower for the Z. That is if you opted with the manual gearbox, because automatic loses about 10 horsepower. I won't go through the all trim levels, but things that base were unlocked were limited slip differential, traction control, and satellite navigation. The trim levels that we are interested in are Track and Nismo. They included forged wheels, Brembo brakes, improved exhaust. Nismo variant had more aggressive aero, revised performance camshafts, and a different Nismo-tuned exhaust. Late models 2007 to 2008 came with the new VQ35HR. Dual intakes, redline bumped to 7500 rpm and power output to 306 horsepower, which makes it the most desirable version or revision of 350Z. Generation 6, 370Z or Z34. Here is our long-lived one. The improved 350Z, straight up. Differences from the 350Z are: it had more modern and aggressive looks, VQ37 VHR engine, which due to its tuning and increased displacement provides car with more horsepower, baby, 330 to 350 horsepower, and 0 to 100 time of 5.1 seconds official. Fitted with the first ever production manual 6-speed that had rev matching. Rev matching is when the car blips throttle for you, so you don't need to heel toe shift. It does that when you shift the gear. Or it came also with a 7-speed automatic with pedals shifters. And it is pretty much 350Z in all other things, honestly. Oh, also, it was made for 12 years. It was made from 2008 to 2020. Holy shit! The new generation. RZ34, first being teased in 2018, that a successor of 370Z was being made. Then in 2020, Nissan patented new logos. One we don't care about, it was the corporate, but the other one, it was the new Z car logo. On May 28, 2020, as part of its global restructuring plan named Nissan Next, Nissan's official YouTube channel released a 1 minute 12 seconds long video showcasing its updated vehicle lineup, including the new Z car. In that video, the claim about keeping the retro looks was confirmed, which made a lot of us, car lovers, very excited. I like this, how it looks. Nissan dropped the number from the name because the displacement wars were over and it would break out of the tradition. Also, it would have gotten the rumored 400Z name. If it did, it would stand for the power output, because the new Z is powered by VR30DD-TT, a twin turbocharged 3-liter V6 producing 400 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. I don't know why I use the Imperial here. Fitted to a 6-speed manual transmission or a 9-speed automatic Jetco transmission, delivering power through the carbon fiber drive shaft to the rear wheels. In 2026 it receives a facelift, we are yet to see it, which will get adored with new logos and a 30-inspired front bumper. The Z Nismo was revealed on August 1st, 2023. For the first 2024 model year, that Nismo was offered with a redesigned wastegate, enhanced ignition timing, engine cooling, oil cooling systems, all inspired by the GTR Nismo. Maximum power output of the upgraded engine is now rated at 420 horsepower. Nice. 400Z competed in a bunch of racing championships and somewhat popular drift platform. Give it its low sale numbers, the most prominent is GT500 competition, where it replaced Nissan GTR GT500. Motor Magazine named the new Z most exciting new car of 2021, way ahead of Porsche Taycan GT4 RS and Toyota GR86. I hope you liked this video. I hope you liked new sound. I keep trying new things with writing until I find my style. And this is not the final way videos will go. Tell me about your favorite car. suggest me the next video ideas, and the next video will be about the car that became the war legend. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, auf Wiedersehen, Matane, до побачення, Oleksander out.